have you ever had that moment where like you just hear something so profound? It's like, where the fuck has this been in my life? How did I, not hear this?
Absolutely.
Oh man, yeah. Didn't matter if the beats were super innovative, high tech, or whatever. They were rocking shit on like 4 tracks, recording that shit in the bathroom sometimes, But it was just fucking pure gold magic, right? That like just opened like a huge like dimension of appreciation for music in general, especially all the music that came before hip-hop and that inspired hip-hop. And even like back in the old jazz days, there were folks that were like rapping like they were doing today in hip-hop, like Eddie Jefferson, and that man is like phenomenal. Larry Matisse. I even stayed with one of these brothers for like a month. That's me at his house on the YouTube thumbnail. Actually, those are not my records. That's Architechnique. That ain't mine. But yeah, much love to them, Casio.
A lot of people don't really get into the nitty gritty of content creation in itself. They mostly they encourage people to do so, but don't get too much into it. So I really try to just, like you said, think about what people are not doing enough of, and focus on those like smaller topics, those niche topics, and then kind of elaborate more on those things. So that's what I personally try to do. So hello everyone, good evening. This is Nicholas P. Urgero, and today I have the pleasure and honor of having Derek Bartolocelli on my channel today. Thank you so much for coming on. How you doing, man?
Bravissimo for the buona pronunciazione, and I totally butchered that, but yeah. Grazie mille. Really, 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 yeah. And bonjour to all the lovely people out there. And yeah, I just need to make a quick public service announcement. If you or someone that is struggling in life and kind of confused about the world at which we live in, and not quite sure about your own knowledge of self and this and that, and you're looking for some kind of self-help tape, and the podcasts aren't working, or all the intellects and eggheads aren't doing it proper for you, or the books, you're not much of a reader or whatever, come on by to my channel, AwakenYaMind, and you might be benefiting on taking your time to be so willfully inclined to sit back and recline to some music that is truly divine.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah, so definitely
not practicing for that, but
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, please, people, check out AwakenYaMind, because especially with this, like the mixes, and I've been getting into 432 hertz for a couple years now, so I definitely can feel the difference when I listen to it. Like it just seems like it's just like around your ears. It's not like piercing. Like I totally noticed it. I noticed totally a difference from that. So I want to definitely get into that later on. But yeah, if you want to just give a nice introduction about yourself and what you're all about for people who are unaware.
Jeez, yeah. It's such a loaded question, man. I don't know where to begin. But yeah. But yeah, I've mentioned this a little bit in recent podcasts. I'm going to try to boil it down in like a couple nutshells, because like there's just been such a coalescence of the converging paths of one's experience, and how it blossomed into this 1,000-petal lotus, if you will, which was that after the profound spiritual awakening that I had back in 2012, and yeah, kind of did that quantum leap of consciousness in a sense, and just going through all types of alternative information and things that I've learned and listened to through music. Yet, a lot of the stuff that we're going to be listening to in these mixes that I make, actually, it's like things that are going to open doors and also confirm things that you might have thought before. But, it's not like it's going to be some kind of lecture of an hour that's going to give you all the fine details of certain things. But yeah, there's a lot of great quotes that you can pull from that are just, one-liners, bam, bam, bam. Yeah, that's true. That's all you need to know about it, for sure. And where I'm from is the San Francisco Bay Area. And I was born in '83, and that was way before the unbelievable, insidious, and just all over the place techno monopolistic. It's not technocratic anymore. There's no whatever, it's monopolistic, and it's just a beast of itself with the 666 hexed and all that shit. And yeah, it's had me kind of vexed being back from France. I was living there for a decade, and it's like the most reverse culture shock that I've had, being back in the Bay Area and realizing just like things are just astronomically expensive. I've been saying this for years. I go back every 2 or 3 years from France to come back and visit in the States. I'm going to go rewind it all, but I'm going to be jumping back and forth between time. We don't need the flux capacitor or DeLorean where we're going to be exploring, man. But, let's stick to the story, man. All right, let's go. All right. So back and forth. Here we go. I just kept seeing like just folks around the town struggling, and just the hell's going on? Gentrification all over the whole Bay Area. It's like androgynous in a sense, and I feel bad for the folks out here, and I don't want to stick around too long. And it's been a heartbreaking experience for me, because growing up here and being a spriteful adolescent or whatever, right? And getting keyed into some seriously like just profound, abstract, conscious hip hop back in the days in the mid 90s, right? I was fortunate to have some friends that actually were aspiring to rap, that were rapping, that wanted to battle rap folks and do slam poetry and just hit up the open mics. And so we did that in going to San Francisco, sometimes Oakland even. And yeah, we kind of grew up in the burbs, in the super white privileged fucking places of the world. Oh shit. Folks get so triggered by that, but yeah, it ain't really where you're from, it's where you're at, especially in the mind and the heart and the guts. And when them shits are aligned to some cosmic law shit, that is where the fuck it is at. So yeah, white privilege, think about the Bill Gateses and all that, before you want to, worry about the whoever's and this and that. And that's not to say like, they got some shit up their ass or whatever the fuck. There's a bunch of yuppies around here. That is for sure. Ain't denying that. But, go talk up to the Rothschilds and all that kind of incited the whole white privilege and with these eugenicist motherfuckers, right? But anyways, back to the subject of where are we at? We're in the mid 90s, Bay Area, where shit was popping. You got open mics all over the place. And then that shit fizzled off in like the early 2000s. Don't know why, but there was a beautiful venue in Oakland. It's called Tourette's Without Regrets. And it was like a hip hop slam poetry variety show. And they even had like dirty haikus, rap battles, little skits. And they brought in like ventriloquists and just like all sorts of crazy stuff. Like it's like modern day vaudeville, alternative arts of expression type of stuff. And I was really feeling that, even though I was more of the observer than anything. I was there because my friend wanted to hit it up and MC and do his thing and speak his piece, and he fucking did that. He hit up a couple stages, even with the likes of Chuck D from Public Enemy. He got up on stage and was freestyling with him in Berkeley, man. Just like all these things were really cool, and it really built up to just an affinity I had for this art form. And yeah, I used to love to beatbox while my friends were freestyling, and I was such a stoner that, and the weed was so chronic and hitting all these blunts all the time, just it ain't really good for you. But I mellowed down, I moderated myself. We're on the spliff tip in France, which is something that these addictions and substance uses, abuses, we gotta let them go. Can't be holding these crutches forever, right? Double meaning, get it? So I was leaning a lot towards independent underground hip hop, and a lot of it was really conscious. And I know you're going to be speaking about influencers and what my influences were, which a lot of it stemmed from the Bay Area, which is why anyone listening to my music, they're going to realize like, hey, there's not a whole lot of East Coast cats or whatever, you know, and that's nothing against them because there's beautiful music all around the world, even, you know, and it really comes down to sometimes like marketing, especially if you're not in the local area and you're not even able to get it out into local record stores. Because in the Bay Area, there's a beautiful, beautiful record store, Amoeba Music. And they used to do live shows. And there used to be tons of independent artists just, you know, chilling on the curb or, you know, out in front of the store, not able to, you know, have their tapes and records and all that sold in the store. So they're like outside the store, just like, hey, I got my backpack. Come peep what's inside. And I fucking love that shit, man. I met some straight up legends with that. Like literally. Not familiar. Don't know if you are familiar with the group Living Legends. They were based out in the Bay Area to begin with, a collective of 8 beautiful souls. And it's like the West Coast version of the Wu-Tang, even though there's like a French version of the Wu-Tang. There's even like a Philly version of the Wu-Tang, which I'm going to touch on in a second. But yeah. So I was just really inspired and like just from the raw talent and the streetwise spirituality that they had and the lyrics that they were pumping out were something else. And it really didn't matter if the beats were super innovative, high tech or whatever. They were rocking shit on like 4 tracks, recording that shit in the bathroom sometimes, you know? But it was just fucking pure gold magic, right? I got 300 tapes, man. You know, I've bought hundreds and hundreds of albums. Like that was my addiction for a while. And yeah, I was lucky to have that kind of money at the time. I had a relative that passed way earlier than he should have. Got a little money for that. So I was trying to support the local cats. That really inspired me and just kept me on a good level, because navigating through this reality and realizing what we're subjected to after you pull back from, you know, being sucked into it for the majority of your life, right? You kind of realize that, wow, there's like this media minutia stuff, but then there's like this other good shit. And, you know, talking about music and, you know, what you hear on the radio and blah, flip and blah, materialism, vanity, the money and the hoes. Oh, broski, woski, woe is me, you know? So fucking inspiring, you know? I'm so unbelievably underwhelmed by, you know, like, but all that good on the other side. I mean, these folks are living check to check. They're, you know, the starving artists, you know? And that's not to say like, just because they're like that doesn't mean like they're the shit and like their music is bulletproof and this and that. I kind of take, you know, musicians, actors, your favorite YouTubers, presenters, philosophers, whatever. Are you going to like every single, you know, thing that they produced, every single piece of content that they produced, every single word that they said? You know, like we're not going to agree with 100%, you know? And I think a lot of people get strung up on that with too much ego attachments, with, you know, putting people on pedestals, right? So we try to sit back, admire, enjoy, absorb all that good, but kind of weed out the baddie bads. So I'm being a little cute, but you know. Are we good? No, I'm just kidding. In the Bay Area, holy shit. I mean, there's a world of, you know, conscious cats that have, you know, overlapped, you know, a world of, you know, the the street gangster hustlers, and the Too Shorts and the Mac Malls, Andre Nicotina's, Mac Dre, E40, and the Click even, but they had some really cool shit, man. These people were talking about what I like to refer to this music also as like street journalism. It's like you hear that? Yeah. Weird music. Sorry, it's probably my folks. Distractions. Sorry. But yeah, I'm gonna read off my list. So in the Bay Area, we have the likes of one of the biggest groups, or one of my favorite groups that I've slept on most of my life. I only recently figured them out or heard about them when I was living in France. A group called Audio Pharmacy, who is originally based out in San Jose, originally called Chaotic Souls, and there was a collective of some, really talented artists, and it's actual live music as well, with beatsmiths or producers, people that can make beats, but also folks that can play the guitar and do all types of percussion and also just like melodic vocals. It was so soulful, and I wept so bad when I heard one of their first albums, or heard their album for the first time, and like, how have I slept on these cats? And have you ever had that moment where you just hear something so profound, it's like, where the fuck has this been in my life? How did I not hear
Absolutely.
this? Oh man, yeah. So we got cats like that. We got the quantum spectrum of Black Alicious, rest in peace, Gift of Gab, one of my favorite MCs, one of the best MCs that ever lived, man. He should be in the pantheon. You familiar with him?
I don't know basically any of these people that you're talking about. So.
Oh shit, no worries.
Yeah,
I'll try to run through them real quick and give you a just a nutshell type of thing. But yeah, also on the rest in peace in recent times, yeah, Gift of Gab and Baba Zumbi of Zion I. Also another one of my favorite MCs, Guru of Gangstar, who ignited the genre of the jazzmatazz, like jazz hop, and being an MC that's just spitting that street knowledge over jazz instrumentals, whether live or not. And that was something that I was like, wow, growing up and this and that, this is like such a mature sound. This is so much better than this, little MTV teeny bopper bullshit, Ain't worried about the pop culture, sorry, but thanks. Yeah. We got other folks like the 4-track days of Derelicts. Yeah, I mentioned Living Legends, which includes, The Grouch, PSC, Sunspot, Eli, Picasso. He's one of my favorite MCs as well. Aesop and Arata, which they recruited from Japan, man. And it's like just doing tours internationally, doing their own thing without a, record sign deal and this and that, just like fucking independent, with that rebel spirit, with the, middle finger to the government as well and all that shit. They're from the fuck the industry school. You think they're going to get any play on the radio? It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. This, the game's been rigged, as, George Carlin has said, in across the fucking board with whatever kind of media you want to dabble your fingers in or your eyes upon. Shit's been compromised, and I mentioned this. I don't know if you've been in touch with Andre Mitty from Ascension of the Chessmen. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I've had him on twice.
Okay, cool. Actually, damn it, I mentioned this to Corey Anderlett, actually, which is also a great man, doing great things, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was talking to him about the fact that the dark occultists and all these, social engineers and all the puppet string pullers, what they're trying to do as well is recruit the best and the brightest of us to do their biddings and do the inversions and be the people's champions that that your common person is gonna adorn and kind of monkey see, monkey do type of thing, right? But yeah, these people are in, have been doing Masonic handshakes or whatever. So they're going to be listening to their masters now. Where do you think the term "they sign their soul over to the devil" comes? What does that imply, right? So, and that goes for music, acting, and shit of that nature. I got love for these people regardless. I say these things with compassion because I recognize that these people are really talented as well, but like they've just been duped at such a high level, right? And it's a shame that that talent has gone to waste, right? And we're going to talk more about this in regards to content creation later. But the good old Bay Area Art Collective. That's another great group of folks. Hieroglyphics, Del the Funky Homo Sapien is the most known cat up in there. And what about Tupac? Is he still alive? I'm not worried about that, but yeah, rest in peace to that brother as well. He spent a good amount of time in the Bay Area, and he really got his career started through being involved with the group Digital Underground, which is also from the East Bay, Oakland, I believe. And there's folks like Bored Stiff as well, Earthlings, Secluded Journalists, where you got folks like working in the record store who's got that hip hop knowledge, and it's just cool shit. Comedic Sons is one of my favorite as well. And let's not forget our dear females, Nayla, Mystic, and the Goddess Alchemy Project. Love them ladies. Rasco and the Cali Asians, Planet Asia. There's a lot of folks out in Fresno, kind of mid California. It's funny because like I'm in the Bay Area and we call this NorCal, like Northern California, when it's more like middle California. But anyways, yeah, but there's a lot of LA to the Bay connections as well. We got Project Blow that has like 100 MCs from Darkleaf to the classic Freestyle Fellowship folks, to Abstract Tribe Unique, and yeah, a lot of cats. People Under the Stairs, Formula Abstract, Acid Rain, Eminon, which had the MC Aloe Black. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he went a little mainstream, but I feel like he did it with the right intention because he was really trying to infuse a lot of spirituality. He did a lot of conspirituality back in the days on some 4-track beats, but yeah, that's for another time. But yeah, we got folks on the East Coast that I love, of course. We can't forget about that. Wu-Tang, and another type of counterpart group to Wu-Tang is the Lost Children of Babylon, based in Philly. Like the Roots are based in Philly. And I've always been scratching my head as to why they're on Saturday Night Live with such a feeble tool as Jimmy, or what's that host name? I don't even know his name. Mr. Fallon or whatever.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Now the Roots I do know. Yes.
But yeah, we got Atmosphere, Idea. Rest in peace to that guy, and them Rhymesayers cats. Lab Tech One. That guy is great. KRS One, the classical folks. Rakim, Eric B, Public Enemy. Bada bing, bada boom. And what about France, right? So why did I mention that? Yeah, I lived there. I did a study abroad program there. I didn't even want to study abroad there, even though I don't like to call a woman abroad, But yeah, fell in love, end of story, got married in 2010, lived in Paris for 5 years, lived in the south of France for 6 years, and spent my last year in Brittany. And when I first moved to Paris, music was my best friend. Because I didn't really have anyone else except my wife, And that was already a beautiful thing with her, and just being in love and having that heart chakra opened up more than it ever had in my life, which really also helped me be in the position to be on the path to that spiritual awakening, and being in touch with my divine feminine to a good degree. But yeah, there's some great French artists as well, and that helped me a lot to learn French, actually. And just like learning the cadence on how to speak French. And we got folks like the French counterpart to Wu-Tang Clan is a group called I Am, and they're a really cool group. My favorite solo artist is Fab, and other cats that I really like: Oxmo Puccino, Assassin, NTM is all right. Doc Genico put out a really good album called Liaison Dangereux. Ah putain, mais c'est tellement dangereux, ça me fait tellement peur. Putain, j'ai les cauchemars tous les jours. Non, en fait, c'est plutôt le contraire, mon frère, c'est avec plein de lumière. And I learned to rhyme even double time in French, like a wench, or in English to distinguish. But no, I'm just kidding. You know, growing up, I just love to play with words, you know, and that's why I love this art form so much, because they flip it so many ways and they have so many different ebonics and all this stuff, and I just love it, you know. I kind of marched to my own beat. Never really fell into the wigger category, fortunately. Didn't go that route. But, you know, when you're young and dumb, maybe you might try that hat on for a day, and it's like, okay, no. Whatever the fuck, right? So, and it's not like hip-hop was the only thing I listened to. I love jazz. I took a really great course in jazz history in junior college. Because I went to school high, not high school, more or less. And I was so dedicated to like hip hop, man. I would be sneaking out of my house on the school nights 2-3 times a week at least, just to go out to some of these open mics or go to my friend's house and smoke some good ass weed and just lay back and absorb all these, you know, beautiful tunes that we just, you know, were just, you know, laying ears on for the first time, and just exploring new artists and like realizing like all of this beautiful lyricism, and it puts a really profound impression on you at that age sometimes, you know. But yeah, real quick to finish off the influencers of music, like there's been newer cats, and like for me doing this YouTube channel, I've had to like rearm the repertoire and, you know, look into new things and stuff. And there's been a while where I was kind of disheartened by even artists that I loved and stuff, just not putting out the same material that I was used to, in a sense, and maybe catering to different audiences, which I respect, you know, like folks want to, I mean, you do the same thing for like 20 years. It's kind of want to switch it up, or change le disque, as they say in French, you know, change the beat, yo. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but it's an experiment. At least they tried, you know. So there's countless people, you know, sitting on their fucking asses, haven't produced a damn thing, pointing their fingers and complaining on what they like or don't like, you know. That's great. You know, where's your contribution? Are you part of the solution?
Yeah.
But we got newer cats that I've come across, and I've been thankful for some of the people that have just commented on some of my videos, like recommending certain artists. You know, like I wouldn't have heard of someone by the name of like Son of Saturn as recently as I did if it wasn't for someone that mentioned him. And like there's other cats, because sometimes I do want to get a full rounded, because wow, I didn't even like really talk about what I do, but yeah, mixing these tapestries of truth infused music, if you will. I do kind of have a formula to it, but it's based around certain themes or topics or whatever. Sometimes it might just whatever. I don't want to feel so convoluted or limited or what. And sometimes, yeah, like other artists I mentioned, I also want to try to cater towards other people, and you know, with YouTube, get that clickbait. It's like, gotcha, bitch. You're gonna learn some truth today, huh? Oh man, you're one of those goldfish attention span folk, huh? Well, at least I tried, right? But but yeah, it's like I've been also just really impressed and yeah, feeling it in my heart of, you know, these younger cats coming up, in the more recent years, like eloquence and cause zodiac, conspirituality to a degree, Atma, even Kalki, and just like some, Illuminati Congo. Ooh, man, wow, those guys are dope. But I will say this as a disclaimer, and also in regards to folks that do listen to my mixes, because I don't really put a filter on a lot of things. But bonjour. Hey, don't mind me. Bring me back for a second. I don't put a filter on things. So yeah, there's a certain references or lines and lyrics and stuff, and I do try to edit out some things that are just like, no, I'm not gonna have that on this mix. We're trying to keep it sacred to a really high standard. But yeah, I mean, it's so easy for someone to read an article or read one book or a documentary and this and that, and then just like name drop something or concept drop something like that, even though they might not even know the half of it. And sometimes that's fine, just because it might whet someone else's appetite to want to learn more about that, But I noticed, like, I've been this way in the past. I'm totally guilty of this, of hearing about things that are super interesting, but putting it off until the last minute or like years down the line or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, and so, yeah, it'd be interesting to, talk about later of, like, how can we really appeal to folks, keep that attention retained or whatever, and they gain that value and really feel compelled to want to look into it more, like, immediately, kind of. And for me, like, music kind of did that for me to a good degree, because it hits on so many points of your soul, in a sense, just your whole biological makeup, if you will, because the mental, the physical, and like charged by the emotions, right? Like, how many songs have you listened to that made you cry? I have countless, man. Like, because at this point I've mixed countless songs, and yeah, there's so many songs out there that just I listen to that and I get so many tears of convictions. I have my throat chakra on fire just because I feel their pain. I feel what they're saying. I feel that truth, and I feel that beautiful struggle as well. I feel those notions of being enslaved, the injustice, the rightful indignation, all that shit. And that's why I love the alchemy of this artistry, if you will. Because they are kind of they're just inhaling all this negativity, but they're going to be producing something that is going to be more uplifting, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So so going from there, so you got into music, you're in the 90s, you have a bunch of people that are inspiring you. So what got you, activated to start creating content and start uploading things on YouTube and, inspiring people on your own?
Yeah, good question. It wasn't until I took a nice Sunday stroll down the rabbit hole for a whole, like, 4 months in a row. Like, I was in between jobs, had like one of those crisis of consciousness things where I felt like I had to like totally reinvent myself. Not just for like anything regarding like content creation. It was really just for my personal life and for my marriage and for the sake of wanting to be the best man I can for my wife. So I realized that some of my attitudes and behaviors and ego impulses were, nah, she wasn't having that. And I wasn't having that, of the fact that she wasn't. But I was like totally agreeing with her, and I was like really empathetic to how my actions and whatever made her feel. I wanted her to be as comfortable as she could with me. Like, she was my wife, the love of my life. How could things not be? I mean, of course, like any relationship's going to have their conflicts and whatever. Perfect, whatever. I don't know. That doesn't exist. Everyone's got different wants and needs and opinions about anything, you know, countless things. So yeah, we can all kind of be mature about things. But yeah, if one hasn't done like that shadow work to really, you know, break down their ego and recognize their triggers and why they might be raising their voice about certain things or be upset about certain things, and hold someone in a bad light because they feel a certain way about whatever, and not understanding, you know, certain aspects of the law of attraction and, you know, all these things, and not going through the dark night of the soul, not really looking deep within the windows to your soul in front of the mirror type of stuff, you know, realizing all the mistakes that you made, errors in judgment. Yeah, I had my workload cut out for me, and at the same time I was really worried about my health. I had see, like, with this whole awakening thing, it's like, what are people's really true catalysts to of that? What's the origin of that? Mine was health, love, and music, I guess, you know, and also like a burning desire to understand the true origins of humanity, because I was getting into, like, you know, ancient astronauts and stuff, and it was like one of the last shows that I would ever watch really on television, like, because I was over the whole television shit, and when I moved to France, we didn't really have a TV, but I was kind of curious to see how the television, you know, programming works out over in France and all that. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so there's something that, you know, when you light that fire up your ass, especially if you're lighting it from multiple directions, it might, you know, prompt you to get shit moving faster than usual, type of thing, you know. And so that's kind of where I was. And one of the most beautiful things I ever had at that time was exactly that: free time. And just the loving support of my wife at the time. You know, she was like, yeah, do your thing. You know, she was happy that I wanted to, you know, do the self-improvement stuff. And I was, even though a lot of the days, I mean, I had sleep, I can't tell you how many countless, you know, sleepless days I had, just because I was just so intrigued and compelled on all the stuff that I just completely overlooked, was ignorant about before. Thought I had a good idea about it because, you know, them hip hop cats were talking about it in their songs, but obviously I was lacking the deep, true understandings of it all, right? Even though, like, a lot of them cats were spot on the money of what the fuck they were saying. It's just like there's so much more out there to know about these things, right? So yeah, that all pretty much coalesced and boiled down to like a Kundalini type of awakening, the most profound, like, weeping of my life and repentance and all this stuff. And that shit just, like, I was vibrating so much, it just, like, it was so powerful. It's like getting struck by the lightning of the universe type of stuff. And, like, wow, it's like I was born again, you know? So that's when I really, and I even thought it was like some, you know, alien shit, you know, zapping me for whatever reason or whatever the fuck. I don't know, man. Like, and from that moment on, like, I was like, wow, all this, you know, bullshit, lower level stuff, like, I'm just not aligned to this stuff. I was just, like, connected to more of my core essence of who I am. I don't know how you can define these things, but it's like you almost feel like you've activated dormant DNA within you, that kind of shit, you know? Like the real AI, activated individual on that cosmic organic fucking level shit. Not the, you know, transhumanist motherfucking, you know, like, oh, I need my life hacks. I can't do it myself because we're so conditioned to just, you know, get the instant gratification. This takes motherfucking work. This takes countless hours. Reading within yourself and reading text and watching whatever the fuck, having an eclectic array of information and resources. All that for what? To get, like, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Oh, that's cute, like, wow, okay. I reached within the depths of my soul, and I'm still reaching further, it's a process, I want to get that 12-strand DNA activated, and then some, that kind of shit. I'm an aspiring breatharian, and it's like a double meaning, because even like the etymology of conspire is like, respire in French is to breathe. Respire, aspire, esprit is soul in French as well. Spirit. And it all means the same thing. All boils back down to spirit. The Native Americans talk about how the breath is the soul, right? Did you watch that movie, Wayne's World? What? I always remember the part where they talk about like this Native American, how he's watching, he makes a commentary about like in the dead of the winter when you see the dead man breathing, exhalating the last, that's, that you see the soul escaping the body type of thing. But conspire, like to breathe together on an idea. You're in spirits on doing a similar thing together. Wow, what a conspiracy. Hey, me and the universe are conspiring together to be a stellar fucking human being. What do you think about that? You want to theorize about that? Or what? Such a conspiracy, man. But yeah. Yeah, man, words can be swords, and no wonder that's the symbol in the tarot, right? You got your swords.
Yeah. So what got you? So when did you start getting into? So you said you woke up in 2012. So that's roughly when you started doing the content creation.
Yeah, I thought I was ready for that Mayan ascension on December 21st, man.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a catalyst too. I was like, I'm gonna show those new agers, even though I got keyed into some of that new age bullshit myself, man. I was right brain dominant for a hot one, But yeah, anyways. Sorry, back to your question.
Yeah, I was just initially I was asking you about what got you started in content creation and having that drive to create your own content and upload just music and things that inspired you yourself.
Yeah. So along that journey, what I was also doing when I was going through countless documentaries and interviews and stuff. I mean, like, I'll just tell you right off the bat, some of my initial inspiration folks were, I got the Michael Tsarion and Jordan Maxwell, Max Egan, and one person that I had a lot of respect for, but kind of at a distance, Carrie Cassidy of Project Camelot. And she just kind of like you're doing, going around doing tons of interviews with people, even with, Project Avalon. And they were, interviewing a lot of folks in the UFO community and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I got to get more confirmation. Those ancient alien theorists are, like, they don't know even the half of it kind of thing, Do you know that folks are theorizing about how that one presenter has his hair all, wavy and crazy like that?
You're talking about the ancient aliens guy, or
George Tsalikis or something like that. What is his name?
Just because because he has a crazy hairdo. What are they saying?
Yeah, he's been maimed out, but like people have been making memes about him, and I was just making a joke, anyways. So yeah, like I was really fascinated by all these people and like just taking in too much content all the time, like nonstop. One of the things I was doing was, I was writing, like, if y'all are listening to certain documentaries and not taking notes, I mean, these things are kind of important. I'm sorry, I'm probably shaking the the screen while tapping the table. Sorry about that. But one of the ways that I took notes was I would take a screenshot of a certain, section of a podcast, documentary, whatever. Even, George Carlin speaking that, that comedic truth. What I did was I made snippets of these, like a minute long or just, a couple quotes long or whatever. And I had this little collection. And one day I was thinking like, hey, why not, lace one of these quotes over a beat or something like that, And that was one of the first projects that I ever made was well, actually, I did like a Grand Hancock, even folks like that, over a cool little jazzy beat, And I thought that was kind of cool. Then I did a whole album called like Intriguing Beats that has an assortment of because my goal with my music mixes is to introduce and key people into certain truth speakers and researchers and presenters and even comedians like George Carlin, like the Bill Hickses, like the Jordan Maxwells. And so that was like my initial project. And that just whetted my appetite to do a lot more. I was already making little playlists of like just really good music for a while. And like, even back in the day, you make that, one playlist for that girl you like, type of thing. And I was like, hey, I should step up this playlist game to like actual like mixing and stuff. And because I didn't even mention my DJ influences. Oh, Mamma Mia, let us see. In my hometown, there's some pretty dope DJs. There's this collective called Oakland Faders. I got like DJ Platter and DJ Spare, DJ. There's even a DJ called DJ Enki. Oh, she's here. Can she just come down and say wave hello real quick? I can't leave. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it's all good. We have a wonderful woman, energetic healer, working on my mom. I just wanted her to say hello. I can't run up there, don't want to disrespect the show, but because the show must go on, right? There's a DJ Enki. Isn't that funny? Right? In Nike, reversed is Enki. And I don't know if you're familiar with Enki Enlil and the whole draconian invasion and stuff, and how a lot of that information is highly distorted. But that's for another topic. I just thought that was interesting. DJ Enki, okay. But these cats are dope. And they do bring a good amount of conscious cats to the table. But, I'm listening to a lot, and like, it'd be cool to do like these concept albums where we're just going to be talking about one single thing for like a whole hour. You know what I mean? Hey, how's it going? Just 1 second. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Awesome.
How'd it go?
The drive was fine. It was a little bit
Okay.
traffic, so. And then I'll leave probably around 6:30.
Okay.
And then head to the rosary.
Right on. Well, all my condolences for the wake and everything. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Good
your
to see you. Yeah,
podcast.
totally. Yeah. Thank you. Ciao. Thanks. Sir. Courtesy. Thank you. Are you familiar with DJ Drez? He's like one of the most conscious DJs out there.
Not at all.
He is one of my biggest inspirations. And learning a lot of new artists through like these compilations and mixtapes and this and that. Like, that dude laid down some super classic shit. And like hometown cats like DNA Beats put out some really good stuff as well. Are you familiar with mushroom jazz? What?
Is that
So good,
is that
man.
like a specific genre?
It's pretty much like, this man is so magical that he created his own genre. It's like some trippy jazz hop, acid jazz, hip hop, electronica a little bit. Oh wow, yeah. And you can just trip out on that. It just puts you in a super cool meditative mind state. It's not like super profound spiritual, but it's just like super good to vibe off of it. It's just like really cool. I would throw it on all the time when I was bartending and working in restaurants in Paris, even in the south of France. Yeah, man, them cats loved it. Not everyone, but you know. Yeah, DJ Fanatic, Khan and Amir, they did some amazing work, like a 6-album series of taking all the hip hop samples. Because you know, a lot of hip hop production, what they'll do is they'll sample a small hook of these, you know, old school jazz, soul, blues, funk songs. You know, like the Isley Brothers, they've been sampled like a million times. And it ain't just Between the Sheets, but you know, dun 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 dun, Biggie Smalls and all that shit. But that like just opened like a huge like dimension of appreciation for music in general, especially, you know, all the music that came before hip hop and that inspired hip hop. And even like back in the old jazz days, there were folks that were like, you know, rapping like they were doing today in hip hop, you know, like Eddie Jefferson. Man, that man is like phenomenal. Rest in peace, because I don't think he's alive anymore. But you just hear some dude like double timing some poetry over some classic jazz. Like, hey, hats off to you, yo. Thank you. Anyways, yeah. But yeah, like female artists like Nina Simone, gotta love that. Classics. Anyways, I wanted to really, so one of the things that happened in my spiritual awakening is just like I had my inner heart, my inner mind, and my inner ears open on a whole nother level. And I noticed that I had a pretty short tolerance for anything that wasn't like on a really high spiritual level, in a sense. And that's when I realized, like, noticing certain songs and just at the same time bawling my eyes out, like thinking about this and like, yeah, man, like, all right, these songs gotta, man, people have to hear this, you know, some way, somehow. So let's see, Derek, what shall we do? You know, like, you're already messing with some, you know, truth stuff, you know, you know, some, you know, really profound music. So let's love them together, and voila, something like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great to know. Yeah, because I mean, everyone has their own journey, different inspirations, different
Yeah.
life stories. So it's, I mean, for me, it's like a different catalyst for why I started making content. So I mean,
Yeah.
everyone has that different push, or like you said, that fire under their ass to really get them to start taking some action in whatever form. So with your music, I've been getting into 432 hertz for a few years now.
What's that?
And yeah, what is that? And so that's something I wanted to ask you about, because I noticed that a lot of the stuff that you have on there, it's basically all 432 hertz, which is stuff that really I've noticed a difference in. So if you want to just break that down really quick, like the difference between 432 hertz and what most music is recorded in, 440. So if you want to just get into the difference on that, if people are unaware of what that even is.
Yeah, sure. So the 440 was elected like the new standard of how music is supposed to be recorded and how instruments are all supposed to be tuned to as well, apparently. And I'm just going to go briefly over this because I don't know detail by detail. There's a great man by Dr. Horowitz, I believe. He's done some phenomenal videos about that. And other people have made phenomenal videos of just his little snippets of, and putting like some really cool creative visuals to that, you know. The stuff that I told you like about, that's on some like, you know, underground small time stuff, and it is a reflection of what I really love doing with and listening to, with just like low quality sound but just like with the truth completely profound type of thing, you know. That did it for me, and I know it doesn't do it for others, but anyway, so 440 to 432, what does it really do? Well, how many times have you heard that Nikola Tesla quote? You know, if you want to really understand the world, think in terms of energy, vibration, frequency, something along those lines. Yes, the real Nikola Tesla, right, Nicholas? Not the phony Mr., you know, I have a Tesla brand, you know, company that's causing the real Tesla to be rolling in his grave, you know, while this transhumanist billionaire does his fucking fake ass Tony Stark impression. Wow, I'm so fucking impressed by these satanic motherfuckers.
Hey, he's trying to save free speech.
Yeah. Did he really buy Twitter? And did something actually happen with that? But yeah, it's part of the savior programming. Anyways, you know. Yeah, so when we're talking about frequency and energy and all that shit, what happens with the distortions? Do you like those Hobbits, Lord of the Rings?
I've seen the first 3, and I saw the first Hobbit movie.
Okay. Well, the whole creation of Middle Earth and everything around there was from, you know, this Luvatar creator guy. And he was singing his song. There was a certain frequency that, you know, his creative entities, you know, were singing in harmony with. And evil was created when they distorted away from that, you know, pure frequency. And that kind of snowballed into this ego driven desire to want to be the creator himself and this and that. And I feel like that is also kind of an allegory to this fucking AI, because it goes beyond this reality. It goes beyond this dimension even. But that's for another talk. Because, well, actually, it does play into this as well, because we're living in a fallen time matrix. This whole reality, there's so many false overlays. Even the 7 chakra system, there's an overlay on that. It's the reason why we're cut off from our, you know, all that other DNA that we're supposed to have that they call dormant. You know, that's why we have, you know, this 10% brain bullshit instead of 100% whatever the fuck. That science, you know, trust the science. I'm so overwhelmed by science these days, aren't you? But yeah, those were things that were, you know, like hearing those, you know, as a teenager, those were still in the back of my mind, driving, you know, the fire under my ass as well. Like, you know, fuck this, you know, 10% brain shit. Fuck the fact that, you know, like, do we really have to sleep a third of our life away, you know, by the recommended 8 hours a day type of shit, you know? Doctor recommends this and that, and is it legit in fact or what? Sometimes, you know, got to dig down below, way beyond that Rockefeller medicine men shit. And I've heard that Rockefeller has been a name associated with those funding or driving the changes of 440 from 432. 432 was the original one. You go back to, you know, Mozart and them cats. What's chopping? What's cracking? You know, what's smashing? Oh yeah, Beethoven's piano, right? But no, hey, we're on YouTube now, so you gotta smash that like button and blah fucking blah. Hey, you over there, don't subscribe to me. Subscribe to you. Subscribe to, you know, the true divine principles that, you know, manifest this reality in regards to natural law. That's what people need to fucking subscribe to. But yeah, feel free to subscribe to our channels as well. There's nothing wrong with that. It does help out with the algorithmic bitch shit, especially in these draconian days of complete fucking dystopian trajectories. But yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, so in terms of like the 440 to 432, is there like a Do you notice a difference in terms of that? Like, what
Yeah,
made you like source, like look into that, and take the time to change music from the 440 to the 432 and go through that process?
yeah. I mean, I probably learned about it 2013 or something like that. There wasn't a program out there that could really do the conversions, or I didn't know the technique. But yeah, as I shared with you, there's a great program now called Return to 432, and they do also have a program out also where you can convert sounds or audio files, whatever, to 528, and that's more like the heart chakra resonance. 432 is more just like that organic harmonic with the earth and just like the natural soundscape of this reality in a sense. But as I mentioned to you before, like I have my doubts about like these even 432 to a degree, because like just the whole harmonics of this planet have been distorted. But and I don't know enough to speak more about it though. But yeah, just more things to look into on the side. I mean, like there's so much to look into, and that's why there is so much controlled opposition, and there's so many fucking rabbit holes and this and that now, because they want people spread out worse than butter on a baguette or whatever, and yeah, just focusing on the priorities, like simple enjoyable things like freedom, right? Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, totally. I know it's
Well,
crazy. So for people that have not been activated yet, they have a lot of knowledge that they're sitting on. They're just not taking any action. Maybe they're doing it in terms of in person with other people, creating like
yeah.
conversations and all that stuff, trying to inspire. But for people that want to start creating content, you've been in the game for quite a few years. So do you have any sort of tips and tricks, what people can expect? Anything like that that you can think of?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a bunch, and yeah, I appreciate you being included in that Facebook group. Word up to Adam Infinitum, Content Creator Collective. Holy shit, I almost beat my words. Uh, there's so many ways to go about this, and I feel like, including myself, getting out of the starting blocks or making that initiation, the initial dive or whatever, right? We do have to try sometime, right? But it takes courage. It takes humility. It takes that shadow work. It takes that, building up that self-empowered. It takes a lot of building up your grammar, your grammar, logic, rhetoric. Sorry, understanding the old trivium in that precise order, right? But and it takes a lot of imagination. I go back to that childhood, them good old days. But bring all your experiences with you, and things that you feel that other people can benefit from. On just any kind of path of better states of awareness or better health or anything. There's so many empowering things that we can do, and there's so many ways we can do it on a daily basis, whether it's at your work or whatever. Like there's coworkers that, and of course we don't want to like ruffle folks' feathers and all this shit. And yeah, to be honest, like the last job I had in France, like speaking of on shit and having to be firm on my principles, like no, I ain't trying to wear a fucking mask. I'm definitely not going to get tested like you guys are, just because who such and such said so, or folks got to go to the pharmacy to ah ben non, ah mec, tu vois ce mec là, il est complotiste, hein? Il croit dans tous les complots. Oh no, this guy's a conspiracy theorist, like, hey everyone, hey, we got a conspiracy theorist working with us. So yeah, I mean, like after so many years of having so many different approaches on these things. Like, yeah, it does take a certain delicate approach, especially if you don't want to have, you know, a cloud of shit hanging over you in a, you know, the work environment or something like that. But yeah, as far as like doing your own work, yeah, that definitely takes courage. It definitely takes, you know, realizing that you're gonna have to come across a good amount of like criticism and people talking shit. You know, we're still in like the 2000s, but there's plenty of people on the internet talking shit like it was the 90s. Nothing new, but yeah, in this day and age, we gotta just recognize and realize that there's just like shit talkers on the internet that are not human beings, whether they be bots or AI, whatever people want to call them. You know, the trolls or whatever. You know, like. But yeah, we're standing on those firm principles and that knowledge of self. There's really not a whole lot to be off-ended by. Why did I break that word down? Because people are so easily offended, right? Yeah. Because they're standing on shaky ground full of fucking fallacies about themselves, about what they think they know about the world around them, and the whole kit and caboodle, more or less. And obviously, we're just generalizing. See, we're all, you know, we all got bits and pieces of this and that, you know, and we could all learn something from someone, right? But, you know, there's vast variances of degrees of levels of awareness, right? And that's kind of why I kind of chose the music route. And yeah, so here's a good question for someone to ask themselves in regards to wanting to put something out there, make some content and stuff. What do you specialize in? What have you noticed in the YouTube realm or whatever kind of content of truth that people can, you know, learn from? Whether it be your writing, articles, make your memes or whatever, you know, do graffiti even or whatever, you know, and then, you know, document that on the internet so thousands of people can see it, not just a couple, you know, foot traffic. But ask yourself, what are people not doing enough of as well? Because there's such an oversaturation of what people are already out there doing, you know. And yeah, Nicholas, I really like the way you're keeping your podcast fresh and like throwing little, you know, images, slideshows, and little visuals and this and that. That's what's up, man. That's cracking. And yeah, not everyone has to go out there and do the podcast. Don't feel burdened to have to like, oh, I have to, you know, use my voice, you know, when folks aren't used to using that voice and being on some kind of soapbox or whatever, right? I sure as hell wasn't ready for that shit for a long time. That's why I was like, I need the medium of expression of music to kind of put that out there until I, you know, build up the courage and also the grammar and the knowledge and all that shit in the meantime. And folks can find those alternative methods as well, for sure, you know. And even if folks don't want to do much of anything as well, hey, that's fine. It's not really a spectator sport, you know. I'm not hating on you, but can you please find some way to support those that are doing it and those that you've learned from as well? You know, like there's a lot of people out there working on like strictly by donation and by what the listeners have, you know, given them, you know. So there's a lot of solutions out there. Be creative out there with that conscious creativity. Well, yeah. What else can folks do?
Yeah, so like just for starting out, I know Mark Patsy has mentioned this. It's a good point. Just if you're scared of putting yourself out there on video or whatever else like that, just record yourself offline. Don't even post it. Just speak into the camera. Just maybe have a couple notes about things you want to cover and just start talking. Don't worry about if you fumble and you trip, you slip up and your voice starts cracking. You know, it's like, don't worry about that stuff. You're not going to post it. Just rewatch it, get used to your voice, because everyone thinks they sound weird once they hear themselves. But someone like I've re-listened to some of my stuff, you know, as I'm editing, so I've gotten used to my voice, so I don't have that as a problem for me. But yeah, just starting out that way. And then someone like Andre Mitty, he's strictly just audio. So you don't even have to put your face on there. You don't have to worry about doing any sort of editing if you wanted to do that. So it's just, that's very simple. So for him, he's just cranking out interviews because he's just recording them and that's it. So stuff like that. And things like you were talking about really good points. What do you specialize in? So certain things that you are good at doing, maybe it's just doing a drawing or doing like a comic. So like you can just make illustrations and maybe narrate it or do something like something creative. And then like, what are people not doing enough of? So that's something that I've tried to do in my own personal creating of content is like I've watched We Are Change and Mark Passio, Last American Vagabond, James Corbett, all these people. But then I've also got like, and then like, so like I've watched like the more political people. And then I've also watched Mark Passio. So he's got like the shadow work aspect. And a lot of these people that I watch don't talk about that. So I try to incorporate that. A lot of people don't really get into the nitty gritty of content creation in itself. They mostly like this encourage people to do so, but don't get too much into it. So I really try to just, like you said, like think about what people are not doing enough of and focus on those like smaller topics, those niche topics, and then kind of elaborate more on those things. So that's what I personally try to do. So, and then, just, just like you said, also like getting your grammar, like just getting more information, gaining more confidence about yourself, So,
and I had to work double hard, man. Cause I was straight up, man. I lost some of my English, like just, immersing myself in the whole French culture and language, like so much. And like speaking to like 100 people a day sometimes in French. And I didn't get Frenchified, but c'est la vie, mon ami. Shit. I wanted to say something really important and I forgot it. So I guess it might not be that important, is it? Yeah. So, and it is kind of obvious, but check out the tutorials. Peep out what kind of software, excuse me, is needed for all this. I don't know if you're rocking OBS or anything like that.
I'm using to do the live streams, as you know, I'm using StreamYard. But then with my editing, I do Wondershare Filmora. So I do that. There's also Camtasia.
Or what?
Huh?
You might have to show me some tips on that, but yeah.
Yeah, Filmora, I think it's also very user friendly. I was doing Camtasia to start because I know High Impact Flicks, he uses Camtasia. I asked him what he was using, so that's what I started on. And that was really good. I mean, for beginners, that's super. Yeah, Camtasia. My brother was able to give me like an older version for free, so I was able to use that. Yeah, and so Camtasia is also very user friendly, great for beginners. And then Filmora has been pretty good for me. I've been enjoying that too, but it's also because I already had that previous experience. But nice. Just doing some searches. Finding some. At first, I had a blue microphone, one of those kind of podcaster microphones. And if you look back at my other videos in the past, you can tell like the quality wasn't as good as this current one I have. I have a Jabe Lab Pro, I think, Talk Pro or something like that. But Will Keller, he recommended this brand to me. So
nice,
yeah. So then I purchased one of these. Yeah, Chill Will. And so then like I got this one, and I feel like the sound is much more improved. So just the quality of my content.
My sound, man.
Yeah, I mean, you sound still like you're just using your phone, right?
I'm using my computer.
Oh, okay, that's your computer.
But even looking back, I did a great show with Brendan Spencer, and I'm looking back for a second, and it's like I got to get like a new camera and a better microphone, or like a sound card, because I plug in the microphone and I can't hear sound out of it. And like, why is the Mac acting whack? And you know what I mean? Like, fuck the hell. And like I shelled out a good amount of money for a newer computer because, man, I've been rocking this guy for a while, and this is where I store all my music. And yeah, I don't know. Do you have Apple or not?
No, I have my brother helped me actually build this computer, but it's it was a Windows 7 at first, but then he made it a Windows 10, even though he didn't recommend Windows 10.
No one does.
Yeah, it's because I was wanting to play video games with it too on my computer. So then obviously you needed Windows 10 for it to
yeah.
be better.
Ha!
So that's what happened. He got me this for free as well. But yeah, he got me the sound cards and all that stuff, so I didn't pay too much for it. And I only threw him like $50 or whatever to help me out.
Awesome.
So I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed to have, you know, it's all about who you know for the most part nowadays.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky to have my brother and his knowledge on computers. So yeah, so I mean, if you wanted a different computer or something like that, you're looking at something else, my brother would at least give some good suggestions based on what you're looking for to do it with, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah. Got to dwell on these things. And yeah, I mean, after 10 years of doing this, I still want to like improve the quality. I want to completely level the fuck up on basically everything, man. Like I'm making my mixes with you saw basically the rudimentary programs that come with it. These are powerful things. I don't want to, you know, backtalk them, but yeah, I got this. What do we got? Virtual DJ. It's so easy to snip little audio samples, and you want to make something, or you got iMovie, even though it's like everything, right? With Apple, it's like, wow, kind of over your ego identification and with everything now, whatever. But yeah, iMovie is great for beginners as well, and you can just, you know, you can download a 2-hour presentation on something like a lot of folks have done, and, you know, snapped up that, you know, 3-minute snippet of some pure fucking gold of a certain topic that, you know, just would be great for folks with the smaller attention spans type of thing. We can all do this. Folks have done it in the past. Y'all can contribute as well, or not, you know, to whatever floats your boat, man. But try to find that labor of love. There's a passion that drives people to want to do this and continue and have that longevity that they've had. Even though, like, yeah, like me doing all the music stuff is great, but it feels like I gotta be doing other stuff as well, you know. But c'est la vie, mon ami.
Yeah, because
I 104 mixes to this day, and they're all like pretty much an hour long. It usually averages out to like an hour and a half, you know. And like a lot of DJs have put out a lot of, you know, live mixes and this and that, but like as far as like a solidified project of, you know, pretty profound proportions on like all types of stuff that can fill up a fucking library, you know.
Yeah,
I wish there were more cats out there like that. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do just for myself, even, because like, man, I love the style of DJing and having, you know, an eclectic array of artists and all that stuff mixed in a cool way. Certain melodies are blending and all that stuff. And yeah, I ain't the shit. I ain't some professional DJ either. I'm on some amateur shit. I've done some live DJ sets for a couple months in Paris. That was about it. You know, I don't have hardware like turntables, unfortunately. I'm being honest. I ain't no fucking faker or poser, but, you know, whatever. Everything that I've done was for free also. So if anyone wants to complain about it, I got one of the smallest violins for you, but anyways.
Yeah, definitely some good tips and recommendations, because I know this one person that creates content, all she does is basically upload stuff. That's all she does. So she heard the of Sam, or S-A-N, and she just takes interviews, videos she did, and she just uploads them on YouTube, and that's all she does. And she just cranks them out all the time. So you don't have to create if you don't want to. You can be, you know, a receiver that expresses message even further for other people. So if people aren't aware of these channels, you can help spread that knowledge, because I'm not aware of these channels. I'm not sure what connection. It's really getting slow, even though I don't have Wi-Fi on. It's connected by Ethernet, but it's still a connection issue. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is breaking up a little.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Am I breaking up on your end?
No, it seems fine. It's I'm noticing the thing was a little. It seems like it's going up a little bit now, but I shouldn't have any issues. I don't have anything else in the background.
But yeah, I think for aspiring folks that want to actually do something, that got that fire in their heart and in their guts, even, you know, write down ideas and this and that formula. I mean, I have so many notes about so many things. I got too much stuff, man. I'm subscribed to like 300 to 400 YouTube channels. I got like 1,000 videos on watch later lists and all this stuff, and just I got 1,000 snippets of audio samples that I've done over the years, and just like all this stuff. I would suggest, because I wasn't the best at doing it from the get-go, is being really organized with your desktop and all that media that you're accumulating and also creating and stuff, and yeah, writing down ideas and what you want to do, and kind of paving that road to do what you want to do in the future, especially if you're not quite there yet. You know, just plant those seeds of thought. You know, those ideas can grow into massive tree trunks that others can catch some good shade from and climb up to higher heights and all that good stuff. What other allegories have we got? Shit. There's something else I wanted to say about all this content creation and stuff. Oh yeah. I mean, folks can like write a paragraph, even post it on a meme, you know, something like that. If you're able to get a website going, you can just make your own articles or whatever. Just put a picture that goes with some text, you know, easy peasy. And yeah, one of the things that I really like to do that also helped me kind of feel more satisfied in getting my voice out there in regards to, you know, using this medium of expression of hip hop, that, like, honestly, a lot of times I cannot emphasize enough of how special so many of these artists are that have been featured on these mixes. This channel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for them. It ain't me, it's them, you know? That's why it's like I didn't want to even have my name in this shit to begin with, because I didn't want that ego identification, and I just wanted to put all these cats on the stage and like, this is them, this is their message, this is what it's about. I'm gonna write about it for a bit. I'm gonna, you know, leave the credits, and folks can, you know, check them cats out later on, you know. So I don't know if Nicholas is still there, but I'm still holding it down. And I'll give you an example of some of the texts that I like to make while writing for these YouTube channels, or these videos I make on YouTube. And yeah, by the way, I want to get the word YouTube out of my mouth, because there's other platforms out there that are just better at this point. You know, like maybe the lag time might be better. They don't have the best bandwidth sometimes or whatever, but you're going to find the most truthful information on those platforms now because of all the censorship and all that shit, you know? So this mix is still up. It didn't get taken down by copyrights or whatever on YouTube. It's called The Mystic Journey of Ascension. And it's kind of a trigger word, pretty charged. Ascension, right? But this is not some new age bullshit, pseudo spiritual, habitual fairy telling ritual. Nah, it ain't that pitiful. And it ain't no pitfall. But in order for us to ascend, we do it here together as a human species with Mother Earth, aka Gaia, or whatever you want to call it, right? And we are so far from making that happen that it makes these rumors of mass awakenings melancholically laughable. It is the year 2019, the year that I wrote this when I put this out. Before the dawning of the bitch-ass motherfucking Rona, by the way. But yes, it's 2019, and there's over 7 billion people breaking natural laws, and everyone is more or less mentally, financially, governmentally, technocratically, or monopolistically, and oligarchically, and also jurisdictionally enslaved. And now, dictatorship-ishly, making up words now, but you know what I mean. Systems of domination and control. Yeah, it's a real fucking thing. And a lot of people are participating in the madness. We need to extract ourselves, remove ourselves from this, walk away from it, But yeah, it ain't some doom and gloom shit, I'm just stating the state of the human condition objectively. My opinion, however, is that we can flip the script pretty quick or pretty slow. It all depends on how efficiently it goes and the awareness and how that awareness spreads and how we respond and unite. There are cracks in the system for all to see, really. And if you can't see, you probably need to take your head out of your ass, or wipe the crust out of your eyes to actually see the logical, easy to understand inequality and at least some of the mechanisms of control that's been manipulating humankind for longer than people realize or care to admit. Beyond antiquity, to be honest, but yeah. Goes into the Metatronic reversals and all that shit, but yeah. It's time to surrender your bullshit, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can finally do something and be the ones who strike back. Not the bitch-ass Empire, right? That was a shitty Star Wars reference, if you didn't catch that. But yeah. And this goes well beyond 3D as well. Much more elaborate than limited yet great movie saga of Star Wars. Yeah. And yeah, there are those good allegories within Star Wars beyond just the good and the light and this and that. But yeah. The only way we can truly ascend is by making the darkness conscious, rising together as a collective consciousness, as one with the planet. The only way to come as one is for everyone to set their moral compasses on natural law, pretty much. Cosmic law, universal law, karmic law, whatever isms that you might have heard variants of it from. The only way for this to occur, really, is to end all forms of slavery and violence on Earth. To have freedom, sovereignty, right? The only way we can do that is with a critical mass population empowered with knowledge of self, healed and deprogrammed minds and egos, understanding the occult science, and rectifying universal truth or laws with courage. And of course, action. There needs to be some serious action involved. We need the older followers to kind of quit their cults and kind of take their boots off the human neck. But yeah, maybe there are other ways too, of course. I don't know if you were listening, Nicholas, but can't hear you.
Yeah, my internet went completely out. I'm not sure what the hell happened. This is the first time it's ever happened.
But the live stream is still going, right?
Yeah, it was still going.
All right, cool.
I thought it kicked you out too, because I remember you were talking and I saw that it was just giving like a gray loading circle for both of us on my screen, and then I saw at the bottom where it has your screen like outside of the live stream, and I could see you talking and I could hear you, and then I was just expecting it to crash at that point, because it did that yesterday with my interview. After the interview, I was still talking to him off air, and then it just destroyed my internet for some reason.
Damn.
I'm not sure. This has never happened before because I'm directly connected.
We're all good. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just kept the ball rolling.
Perfect.
What I did is I was reading some text of one of the videos that I did upload on YouTube, because I did suggest another form of, just like writing articles or whatever. Write some poetry, all the good stuff.
Perfect.
But I just wanted to finish reading what I started, because sometimes I'll write in the description so much text that I got to take out a couple paragraphs because it's just too much. Like YouTube gives you like 1,000 characters to work with in that description box, whatever. But yeah, just to finish off, it's the text I wrote for Mystic Journey of Ascension, by the way, Nicholas. Because I'm sure you've heard yourself plenty of times, and probably sick of it, that all this talk about 5D and whatever the hell, right? We're going straight to 5D, you know? What about 4D? Yeah, it's pretty interesting shit, right? But why are we here and now in the 3D physical realm? You know, have you even mastered the realm of causality, mentalism, the realm of your emotions? You know, pipe down about that 5D shit because you ain't the master of your ceremony right now. Whack ass MC shit. You know, that's what MC stands for. If folks don't know that, master of ceremony. That's why you hear rappers are referred to as MCs. But yeah. And that's why I also like rap as well, because they call out the motherfucking bullshit. The whack ass motherfuckers that, you know, ain't doing a damn thing, you know? Yeah. We also need that in the kind of truth community, you know? And it would be great if folks, you know, before they step on screen, you know, mastered a good amount of themselves and their ego and are willing to hold themselves accountable as well. Like, hey, everything I say is not 100% right all the time, you know, just like you, just like anyone. But who is really humble enough, you know, and open enough to realizing these things and correcting them, you know, whether privately or publicly. And if you're in the public eye, you better do it publicly too, right? So, whatever. But yeah, some people just want to escape it all, you know, like this new age notion and all this stuff, and elevate to a higher density, leave it all behind, right? It's your free will choice to do so. Sure, go meditate in the hills and do all that stuff, whatever works for you. There are people yearning for this who don't even fully understand themselves, let alone activated their rudimentary chakra templates, which needs to be transcended beyond its limitations to ascend beyond that energy field anyways. I used to be caught up in all that for a minute before realizing those false light paths. But what I feel more appropriate is moving this realm towards those higher densities, not just like individuals going off and doing their own thing. I'm not going to say it's selfish, but yeah. Where's that service to truth and service to others that a lot of people in the love and light community are talking about? But yeah. Some say we're already in 4D more or less. I'm not going to argue that. But there are fragments in this collective consciousness that are struggling and suffering with lower dimensional lessons who seem to be stuck in 2-dimensional thoughts and behaviors. Forget about 3D, right? Throw on the occult priest class, nefariously wreaking havoc upon all life on Earth, full of order followers, and things don't seem so 3 or 5D peachy, do they? Or 4D, you know? Then add on the overarching archonic manipulations and distortions on the astral and ethereal levels, and we see that even aspects of, you know, Fibonacci sequence and sacred geometry are not all necessarily the true codes of consciousness and creative forces. These things have been hijacked, counterfeited, and sold back to us beyond for eons. These things will hearken toward, this mix will hearken towards individuals and collective efforts and experiences involved in this so-called ascension process. People think it's all going to be some kind of event, but I see it more as a process. Shift happens, yeah. Fucking better, right? But there are requirements and numbers of people for that to happen. And we might have to think more beyond than just like the 100 monkey effect, which I'm sure you heard about before, right?
No.
The 100th monkey effect. It's they did some study. I think it was like in Japan with this group of monkeys that would learn a new skill or behavior, and it took until like the 100th of that monkey of the, you know, there's probably like hundreds, if not thousands of them, for there to be some kind of quantum shift in consciousness where all of a sudden, like, all the monkeys just automatically like learn this one thing and we're doing it even though they weren't doing it yesterday. And so that's the idea, that if we can reach a certain level, that we can have this, 100th monkey effect, across humanity in a sense. And it actually does make sense, because if we have a higher brain function than monkeys, then what the fuck? Let's fucking do this shit. Wake up, Neo. You're in the Matrix. Get that neocortex lit the fuck up, in your crown chakra shining bright within your soul. But yeah, anyways, conviction, yo. It's not to be mad. It's just, part of the art form. But it ain't acting. It's like how I fucking convey my convictions as well. But anyways, yeah, I used to have like a little monkey as my little YouTube thing, and it was kind of harking back to like 100 Monkey Effect, monkeys that Terrence McKenna be talking about. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, so even if shift comes, there's no guarantee, and I feel that it's how we work with these higher vibrational fields of consciousness that will make the difference in the individual and on the collective scale, and transmitting, their enlightenment outward, that ripple effect. This takes inner and outer work. This is not some self-gratification, easy life hack scenario. It's not a spectator sport, as within, as without. Know thyself, and you will know the universe. We must align ourselves with natural universal law if we wish to see and manifest any of this to occur, really. Avoid the false light tunnel trappings when this current 3D incarnation you have ends as well, because that's, been hijacked as well. It's this Saturn moon phantom matrix of recycling and harvesting souls for energy. It all goes back to energy, and how are we properly using ours? What are we giving it to? Are we giving it to like the great work of wanting to better ourselves and ripple that out for others, or what? So yeah, I've been so inspired in so many ways from so many artists and music, and it's not just hip hop at all. The majority of the music that I do mix is hip hop, but there's a lot more beyond that as well. And being in France opened so many doors of a lot of different music as well. So yeah, man.
Fantastic. Yeah, I unfortunately didn't hear most of that you were reading before, because I was just MIA, getting frustrated, thinking you got cut off too. So I'm glad that at least you were there to take charge while I was gone.
I was starting my own little podcast as well, Holistic Logistics. It got completely deleted off of YouTube, by the way.
Perfect. I'm sure they had many justifiable reasons to do so.
For sure, yeah. And that's another thing that people got to keep in mind. And I know folks are looking to, get those thousands of subscribers and viewers and stuff like that. Dude, even after 10 years, I get peanuts sometimes. But you got to just keep on. Don't let these things affect you. And we all might have these grandiose ideas of, maybe getting popular or whatever. Even though a lot of people doing this, it's not about the popularity. It's not a popularity contest anyways, right? If anything, it's really just making the truth popular. That's the popularity contest against all the motherfucking lies being broadcast 24/7.
Yeah,
like a broken fucking record.
Yeah.
Change le disque. By the way, what's up to my French cats? I forgot to mention them. Larry Matisse. I even stayed with one of these brothers for like a month. That's me at his house on the YouTube thumbnail, actually. Those are not my records. That's Architechnique. That ain't mine. But yeah, much love to them, Cassio.
Yeah, and like you're talking about with it not being a popularity contest, absolutely. Because I'm not doing this to get popularity. I'm doing this to hopefully inspire somebody in some form, whether it's one of my videos about my addictions, or it's one of my videos talking with a content creator and trying to help someone get activated, whatever it might be. Maybe it's just to help you in your own process of working through your own trauma. And like I joined the YouTube game and the content creation game pretty darn late when they were already censoring and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I have 1,500 subscribers, which I'm shocked that I have that many, but I'm getting barely any views. Like if I hit 100, I'm surprised. But then I put it onto BitChute. I only have like 226 subscribers there, but I get way more views.
Wow.
And
yeah, it's funny. It works like that sometimes, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like BitChute, Odyssey. I don't really get any traction on there either.
Yeah.
Float.app is almost like a ghost town. Even channels like The Last American Vagabond, even David Icke, he's posting stuff on there. He's getting like 1 like. So I'm not
Damn,
going to
man.
expect to get anything on there. And then
Wow.
minds.com, that seems like I don't get any traction on that either. So
Mm.
it's almost like I'm not even gonna really try with that anymore because I don't get anything. Like I'd rather get peanuts than what I'm getting there. So yeah, it's not about especially now. If people are trying to do stuff now with content creation, just have that understanding. Just have that
Yeah,
in your
totally.
mind before you start, just so you don't set yourself up to be disappointed. That's why I try to also make my content a little bit. That's why I try to do the editing, like you were talking about, and sprucing it up, just because make it just a little bit different, not just like the information, of course, is the important part, but I also like to, have something there for visuals,
Yeah,
because I
dude.
know James Corbett, if he just did a documentary where he's just reading his script the whole time, yeah, the information is still excellent. It's fantastic, but the images definitely help out people that are visual learners, not just people that can conceptualize that stuff just from words itself. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
man.
that's why I try to do as well. And then when we're talking like me bringing up trauma and all that stuff, I'd really love to tackle that as one of the
Wow.
yeah, talking about shadow work and dealing with trauma, because I know that's like in terms of when you're talking about content creation, that was one of the things that really started you, was when you're married and you're realizing your ego and all these things, and you're making some changes. And so if you have any sort of tips and tricks for people, like what processes did you do on like in your personal life, and if were there any books, any videos, any speakers that really impacted you in that sense, if you can just
Ooh.
lay some of that stuff out there for people.
Mm. Who was really good? Max Segan spoke a good amount about it as well. Um, speaks a lot about a lot of things, but are you familiar with him?
Yeah, a little bit. I've watched a few of his videos.
Okay, yeah. Put out some really good documentaries in the past, like even in 2012. I was like, oh wow, this is the shit. For what I've laid my eyes upon at the time, I mean, like, there's so many great minds out there, and it's really important for one to get that eclectic, rounded array of information from a lot of sources. But geez, man, the whole shadow work stuff, I didn't know it was called that, or the whole spiritual alchemy or whatever, and felt like I had a freaking Athanor burning inside my heart. But I didn't even know what that word was. It's the alchemical furnace. But yeah, it's just there was like just an energetic determination. Yeah, it's that endless burning flame under the ass or wherever, within the heart, because I had a lot of care for just myself and my woman. But yeah, it goes into the generational traumas and conditionings and stuff, and parental stuff. Looking at how much of a fool you were as a kid as well, kind of, and just playing over scenarios of interactions that you had that went bad or good, but we're going to be focusing on the dark aspects. So yeah, we're going to be focusing more on the bad stuff, and just replaying over in your mind, like, at what point did I make this situation as bad as it did? And I've had to look into things in regards to me being arrested a bunch of times and going to jail, uh, getting scarred the fuck up from some idiot who smashed a bottle of vodka in my head, that kind of shit. Just having to go through a lot of stuff and realizing, like, man, this reality ain't what the fuck I thought it was. And I was more of a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, and kind of getting caught at the wrong time, wrong moment type of thing sometimes, or whatever, But at the same time, like, not understanding the law of attraction as well, right? So I had to reconcile that within myself of realizing how unconscious I was, even though at the time I thought I, knew something. and we do, obviously, like I mentioned before, it's all about these varying degrees of awareness, but also the varying degrees of how much of an impression in the level of programming people have had done unto them, whether it be through the indoctrination camps of school or media, news, blah, 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 right? And how much they've been able to deprogram themselves or just, read between the bullshit. And I feel like, that was one of the benefits of going to school high instead of going to high school, even though I don't recommend that at all, is, smoking a lot of weed. Too much weed, it's like it's not the moderate amount one should be consuming, but I did it anyways. I can't go back in time and change it. But just kind of not really caring about a lot of subject matter in school, just in there to kind of pass average, grades good enough so I can still play soccer. I almost fucking didn't play a couple games because I had bad enough grades, that kind of shit. And it's not like it's just like you're not so motivated to learn in that kind of modality and environment sometimes, I was one of those people, and just like the weed, just like, man, I'm too real for this shit, or whatever, but yeah, anyways, and just like, and also like wanting to play video games instead of watching TV also, and that kind of helped as well. The stoner video gamer type of stuff. And hey, folks listening, and you guys like playing video games still, do your thing, but listen to these podcasts while you're doing that. Listen to my music while you're doing that, don't just, listen to the repetitive, especially if it's like violent, sound effects and all that shit. It's like, whoop-de-doo. But yeah, anyway. Sounds like the environment for a brand new born child, But I mean, just poking fun. No, not to be insulting or anything like that. Do your thing, folks. But yeah. Shadow work. You have to really be as gentle as you can in regards to this stuff, and just realizing why one is having like shitty fucking attitudes. What's the causal factor of these things, Maybe I had to realize that, I didn't fully love myself or have patience enough with myself or want to correct certain things with myself or take the time to do those things and, actually take the time to meditate and unwind my thoughts and realize that not all my thoughts are even my own. What the fuck? Programming, So yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. I interviewed my friend who I'm probably going to go and work out with him tomorrow. Odysseus Andrianos, he just wrote a book called Shadow Awakening. He's a shadow coach, actually doing it live in the flesh with clients, individuals, or, even, online, Zoom calls, phone calls, whatever, and you should interview that guy if you want to talk about that shadow work.
He actually reached out to me through like a comment. Yee! And he's the one that just commented just now also.
Get him.
Yep. So yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize he made a book as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It's a really interesting book as well. It's something that, it's very interactive. Folks are going to be jotting down notes. I'd say have a notebook on the side, but with that as well. But it's a really clever way and layout of that book. Are you kidding me? It's a spam call, but anyways.
Answer it live. Let's see.
No. What's next on our menu? Anything? Any last?
Yes. Yes. So in terms of ways people can prep for what's happening in the world, whether it's mentally, physically, spiritually. So like I was talking with Nico Zabalza yesterday.
Yeah,
about just
I'm meaning to watch that and see what that guy's about, man. Looks really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so like just the food supply issues, whether it's just the money supply, fiat currency supply, just anything that's going on, the tyranny that's approaching us. If Like, just if you have anything that you've been doing on your end, like the shadow work is totally one of those aspects of prepping, because you're just working on your own mind and your own, like, how you deal with things and how you interact with people in the world, how you look at yourself, and do you even have confidence within yourself, all those things. So shadow work is definitely one of those prepping items in terms of mentally and the mental arena. So if you have anything like just like food supply, like getting food supplies, whatever else it may be, just anything to help out people.
You can't eat bullets, but those help. And really, the first cosmic law principle, everyone needs to understand this in their lives, to take control of their own minds. Because if you're not in control of your own mind, something else is, to a degree, right? More so than others, and various degrees. You know, I try to avoid the whole generalizational languaging sometimes, but it's inevitable. But anyways, we can clarify a little bit. And that's like the art of expression, right? You know, everyone can find their voice and vocabulary and way of speaking. I got mine. I'm cool with it. I feel comfortable with it, you know. If y'all don't like it, that's fine. You know, I'm totally fine in my own skin. I'm not offended if you don't like me. You know, like that's totally cool, you know. But it's totally cool to, you know, be in touch with your feminine if you're a guy. Because there's all this, you know, new age fluff about it as well. But there's a lot of old, crusty ass motherfucking patriarchal conditioning about it, if you will, as well. Because, you know, us men for countless generations have been taught to, you know, not express your emotions, you know, bottle them up or whatever, you know, not be in touch with your feelings, because that's what girls do. And girls, when they express their emotions, they're just going cray cray, and whatever the fuck they say is far from the truth, you know. But and it's more crooked than their fucking tooth. But balancing, being, because what I meant, you know, like standing on principles, the sacred masculine and sacred feminine, you know, pillars of enlightenment, right? Having that within your whole biological makeup, heart, mind, body, guts, it's going to have you show compassion for people. If shit hits the fan or whatever, we need people compassionate enough to cooperate on a certain level. It's going to be a fucking shit show of people in survival mode with, you know, fight or flight or freeze or fawn, all that shit. And they don't know what the fuck is going on because they haven't mentally prepared. They don't know what the fuck is, you know, is even in control of this reality. And the strings being pulled behind all that. They think the government is their fucking friend. They think the military is their friend. You know? What the fuck do you think all the fucking guns are for? Yeah, they got H-bombs and all that shit, but yeah. It's not supposed to be people against people, even though, you know, we're all people. Government buildings and, you know, police departments are filled with people. Yeah, but they're operating not on the right frequency, not from a place of true love and knowledge of self and knowledge of this reality. They're believing in the false dogmas of, you know, the belief in authority, man's fucking law, which is satanic inversion of natural law to a good degree. But yeah, that's the divine feminine, having that compassion and all that stuff. And yeah, that's what the guns are for as well. That's the sacred defense principle. Self-defense. We have the right to protect our own body because this is all we fucking really truly own in this incarnation. Everything else is temporary, pretty much. The house you buy, the, you know, whatever shiny objects you got in your room or whatever, you know. Even this body, it's all temporary, regardless, you know. But we are eternal spirits. And if you're not living by eternal principles, there's some work to be done, right? So yeah, this is all mental, or this is all spiritual warfare we're up against, right? But yeah, it's all being manifested on the physical plane. And yes, we do need to prep in a lot of ways, and you know, get your I mean, I'm vegan, right? But if shit hits the fan in survivor mode or whatever, like we're gonna be having to eat whatever the fuck is available. And there's a lot of people out there that are just so hyperly cringed out on the thought about tasting a drop of meat again. It's like, yeah, a lot of vegans, vegetarians have conditioned their bodies to pretty much reject and feel sick after eating that stuff. Yes, this is true. I don't hate the meat haters out there, like, and all that shit, but and I don't hate the vegans or vegetarians either. I don't want to necessarily be associated with them, but my dietary lifestyle falls under that category. Even though I'd rather call it like the natural law diet or some shit like that. But yeah, there's a lot of physical preparation that, and of course this is like worst case scenario type of shit, right? They're like all the food supply is gone and this and that. You have to like fend for yourself and like go forage, right? Or like hunt. But yeah, I would be concerned that people would start hunting other people as well, wouldn't you? Look, other things like that. Folks got to strategize locations of where fresh water sources are, understand primary water as well, and being able to have certain tools. Everyone's heard of the bug out bags and all that stuff. I ain't going to go over things that a lot of people know of. And like the bug out bag is going to have the whole thing already like stuffed with essentials and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a hard thing to think about, sometimes, but it is kind of a necessary thing. And I was actually surprised to learn that my dad's been, following up on these things, and he's got a big stock of food kind of stuff. And he follows certain, groups on Facebook and this and that, even though they're not on the level of understanding the occulted knowledge that they haven't really been initiated into or whatever.
Yeah. That's some good points. Like, because I definitely know that there are instances of where there was famines and they started eating other human beings. So that's something I really haven't even thought of until you brought that up again, or haven't thought of again until you brought that up. Because yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, some people will probably get to that point where there's that much lack, there's that much scarcity that they're willing to do something like that. And finding fresh water sources, great point. That's also very good. And scoping places out, going through your forest preserves or like a local wooded area, just seeing what's out there. And like I was speaking with Nico Zabalza yesterday with getting one of those books for your certain region of the whatever, if you're in like the Florida area, or if you're in, like you're saying, the West Coast area, like where you're at, West Coast area, and with me, I'm in Illinois, so oh my god. And so
you had to, I know. So cliche. Sorry.
Yeah. And so like just finding a book that like shows like the edible plants and stuff that's around your neighborhood, so hey, it's a little cheat sheet. Okay, I know that these mushrooms are edible, and these ones that look similar are not. They're poisonous. So just like buying a book like that'll be really good, and just taking a nice walk on a weekend or in the evening before it becomes frigid cold out there. At least in my neck of the woods.
Roasted nuts, acorns, and shit.
Yeah.
Spot out that miner's lettuce. That's like one of those common things.
Ooh, yeah. I know most people don't realize that dandelions are completely edible, and there's like these wild plants out in my area. They're called goldenrod, and you can make tea out of it. You can like do stuff with the stems and the roots and all these things. It's very medicinal. It's got a bunch of different benefits to it. So there's a lot of stuff that's out there. It's a lot of abundance out there that we're not really privy to. So I've seen strawberries and raspberries all over the place in forests around my neck of the woods, and most people aren't aware of that stuff. So that's very important. And then
another great physical preparation that one can, it's completely health beneficial all the way, like fasting, learning how to starve yourself, learning how to operate and, retain energy for certain things. How we learn about on the Discovery Channel and this and that about all the fish that eat once a week in the dark abyss of the great blue sea. And they just let the current of the tide drift them off for their next meal, and they conserve all their energy for that next occasion that they spot their prey, and voila, you know, like obviously it's something to glean on, but
Yeah, that's
fasting. How long have you gone for not eating?
me.
Yeah,
3 days.
nice, man. That's good. A lot more than the majority of people, you know.
Yeah, and that was one of the things. That's not exactly what I was mentioning yesterday, but that's one of the that's a very good thing to do right now when you know that there's food in your house and in your fridge, is to purposely put yourself through that process just to have that experience under your belt for, like, especially your mental sake, not just physically, but also just mentally, because then you have that experience and you know that you're able to do it, and you're not going to just shock your system at another point when you're in complete fear mode. Like right now, you're at least living comfortably. You can still put yourself through that stress of not eating for yourself, and stuff like eating canned food for a whole week, or turning off all electricity, or turning off your air conditioning when it's really hot out, or turning off your heating when it's really cold out, and just putting yourself through that period of time for however long you can last, knowing that you can turn it back on whenever you want, but then you have that experience. And stuff like dumpster diving. So I made a few videos about that when I used to work at Aldi.
Ooh, man.
And then so that you know, like, certain areas, like what dumpsters are good. Aldi is a treasure trove of stuff. Bananas, tomatoes, avocados. You can get some breads, pastries. They throw out stuff all the time for no discernible reason, because they're just absolute idiots, and they love throwing stuff away, and employees can't take it. So Aldi's a great buy, because they have the dumpsters out there. They don't have those little chutes that are enclosed like Walmart, because you can't get into Walmart, you can't get into Targets, because they're just all contained. They have a chute that goes inside the building, which sucks, because then you can't utilize that stuff because they waste so much stuff. But dumpster diving is another great thing. Just figuring out what places are in your local area that are good resources. And that's also good for, like, taking a lot of that food stuff and composting it. So if someone's into gardening, or just wants to, if they have dead soil, which is just dirt at that point, but if they want to remineralize it or do something to it, just get some nasty food from the dumpster and just start tossing it. Don't toss any, like, meat and stuff, or because you'll attract, like, the scavengers, but overall you'll attract some beneficial bugs. They'll, like, break it down. The worms are going to come in. And I've personally experienced that in my old house. Just the amount of growth that I had around my property was immense. Just comparatively speaking, from, like, my part of the fence to further down, you can just see the amount of new growth that was happening to the trees, just from all the soil that was being mineralized and getting a bunch of nutrients. So that's also very good. And just just working on yourself and working like you're going to do tomorrow, just working out, just building your stamina, just staying in shape as much as you can, going on a walk, doing things that are a little bit more uncomfortable, just to be in, the best shape that you can be. And you're not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. And then Nico Zabalza, the one I interviewed yesterday, he owns this company, Black Lotus Shilajit, and Shilajit is a naturally occurring thing in high mountain ranges, and it's got 85 minerals in it, fulvic, humic acid.
Like a ormus?
It's like a resin. It's like a black resin. It almost looks like Rick Simpson oil. Wow. And it's got like a certain taste you have to get used to, but it's very, very good for you. Fulvic acid on its own has numerous benefits. Humic acid on its own has numerous benefits. This has both of those, and it has a bunch of minerals. It's definitely vegan. I mean, it's probably got some, like, plant or, like, dead matter in it from, like, all these years that it's been cooking in the earth. But yeah, it's been very good. So it's good for stamina. Good for stamina, good for hair growth, good for detoxifying heavy metals out of your brain. If someone has, like, diabetes, it's really good for that. So this is, I've been stocking up on this thing like crazy, just because it's a small jar. This thing is like 100 grams. If you take one serving a day, that's going to last you for 400 days. So over a year supply, if you're just doing it for yourself. You can put this in the garden. You can give it to your pets. It's really just overall good for you. I've been having a lot of good experiences with it in terms of just stamina when I'm biking and stuff like that. And my hair is coming back thicker. I was starting to lose it really bad yet last year. So this is really good too.
Not because of the hair, but just like everything you mentioned, but fuck yeah, that's awesome. Reminds me of something I got recently from Amy Pierce over at Levolution. Some good stuff. And yeah,
You know what that is? What's it called?
Love Illusion.
Evolution.
LUV. But yeah, going back to fulvic acid, and there's a lot of different supplements and stuff out there that have it. And I want to say that I recently read, and I feel like I've done this so many times. You go over so much information, and it's so hard to retain like these little details about every little thing sometimes. But anyways, I heard that fulvic acid can be synthetically produced on a mass scale, and that's normally what is sold out there, which is not the case with what you have, because that seems to be like pure source stuff. So that's what's up, man. And yeah, if you're only getting like one meal a day on this survival mode or whatever, like that is such a great supplement to have, because you're getting them trace minerals and other precious minerals and all that shit, and you probably wouldn't have in some of this prep food that you have, or whatever's available, right? So
yeah, I know, because I know people like We Are Change, and I think Josh Sigurdson, they promote like Patriot Pantry and stuff, because they have like promo thing with them. But just if you look at those ingredients on the back of those buckets, it's not very good. It's very low quality, which, I mean, you'd rather have that than nothing. But I had this other company, Numana, NUMANNA.com, and they have, I mean, a lot better ingredients. They're non-GMO. Like they have some organic stuff, some freeze-dried meats and stuff like that. But also 25-year shelf life. I've bought a few of those buckets. I would love to get some more of those, but I personally would recommend them over like a Patriot Pantry or some of these other brands. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you going into some detail on like the prepping stuff, because I think that's super important, because I know like a lot of people.
And I'm lacking hardcore in that shit too.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna front and be like, yo.
Yeah, and that's like you were saying, like, just being authentic and not putting up a facade, and just like I mean, pointing out your own stuff too. I point the finger at myself too. Like when I'm talking, for the most part, I acknowledge that I still have a lot to work on and a lot more stuff to do. A lot more things I can improve upon. I can be a lot more organized. If you saw my room right now, it's a shit show right now, and my desk isn't even looking that great either. So and I'm putting more energy into doing like the interviews and stuff like that than I am in just my own dwelling.
Dang, bro. So, I mean, that's like the priority. It's kind of like the plights, and with the whole making this content and like devoting so much time and energy and focus to the stuff, we see all this other periphery stuff. It's like, that can wait. I can put that off. It's not important. Like, speaking the truth is important, damn it.
Yeah. But then it also reflects my own mind, because I can also be just jumbled up in here, so it's kind of reflecting in how I'm living, because like I've been living like this for so long, so then this is like, it's not a big deal. Like you said, it's like, I'll let it slide another day or two.
Damn, yeah. I think we could both use a good little meditation session.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, if you want to just let people know where the people can find you, if they wanted to, like, do you have any option to support you at all?
Ooh, yeah.
Or no?
I thought I sent you some.
Oh, yeah, yes. You sent me the WordPress and all that stuff. So those links are in the description of the YouTube video and the Facebook video. So people can check you out there. But if you just want to, like, just let people know, I'll show you your
Odyssey. I've been starting some of these new channels on these other platforms just under my name, and trying to keep the AwakenYaMind also, since I'm throwing all the music stuff in there. So yeah, I don't know how long I could keep these monikers, man, but just roll with it. Yeah, it's just my brand, or whatever, if you will. Ooh la la. What the hell is that, man?
It's you.
Yeah, buddy. We're getting there. Almost at 4,000. Wow. I can't wait.
And so you're on Odyssey as well?
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at all the links you sent, so I didn't realize you're on there too. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm on Odyssey, BitChute, Brighteon, YouTube, and RoxyTube as well.
So were you able to link your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
So it was able to just bring everything on there.
Yeah, because I think it has to do with long-standing YouTube channels, or rather channels
to
that
have like over
100
1,000
videos or something, or 50 videos. I forget what it is, what the threshold is, but yeah, man.
If you have over 1,000 subscribers, you can upload. You can link the videos that are over an hour long.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. So perfect. I didn't realize you're on Odyssey, so that's great. So I just followed you, and so I'll be sure to watch your stuff on there instead of YouTube.
Yeah,
so that'd be great.
With yours, brother. Because yeah, we all got to support these other platforms and stay away from Shmoo Tube.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Screw people over.
Yeah, because I'm just using YouTube just because they still allow me to put some stuff on here, and I can do my live streams. So
yeah,
if they want to take me down, that's fine by me, because I get more views on BitChute anyway, so it's not a huge loss in my opinion.
Yeah, man, it's funny that way.
But yeah, please check out Derek's interview with Mario West, because I didn't get to finish all of it, but from what I was watching, especially like the first like half hour that I was watching, it was very, very good, very, very good information, just like, personal stories, but also powerful. It definitely, a lot of that stuff resonated with me, so that was an excellent interview. I definitely want to finish that one up. But thank you so much.
Mario's great, and check her stuff out as well. Yeah, that was I did some good tributes to the Divine Feminine that later on in that piece. So yeah.
Perfect. Good. I look forward to watching the rest of that. Well, if you just want to stay on, Derek, for just a couple minutes after we get off, that'd be great. But thank you so much for coming on. It really does mean a lot to me, and I appreciate you reaching out too. Yeah. It's been great talking with you, and thanks for everyone that's watched and that commented. I appreciate that so much. Yeah. And just take care, everybody. Yeah, if you want to send it off with some French, do it.
Mais oui, les gars, vous me manquez tellement. Je vous aime. Prenez bien soin de vous. Et puis, à bientôt, les gars. Ciao.
Perfect. I'll end it on there. Yeah, take care, everybody.
From the U.S. to France are putting suckers in a trance.
Damn, will we ever awaken your mind?